Good morning to all of our graduates. On behalf of your teachers, on behalf of the Hebrew College Board of Trustees, on behalf of the entire Hebrew College community, I am delighted to congratulate you today and to wish you a warm and heartfelt Mazal Tov. To all those who have supported you along the way, to those who have rooted you and who have rooted for you, family members, spouses, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings, children, mentors, colleagues, community members, friends, and chosen family. Thank you all, and congratulations to all of you as well. It is such a disappointment not to be able to gather together in person to celebrate with all of you this year. We know this is a heavy loss for you who have looked forward to this day for so long. We very much hope that you will come back next year to celebrate with us in person, to be honored and recognized in the embrace of this community. And still today, we are overflowing with gratitude, pride, and joy as we gather virtually to mark this milestone with you. I want to invite you to think for a moment about these last 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or more years of study at Hebrew College. Think about a teacher who has believed in you and helped you believe in yourself. Think about a piece of Torah you've learned that made your heart beat a little faster or made you ask a question you'd never thought of before. Think about a moment of conversation that changed things a little, a moment of prayer, a moment of protest, a moment of song, a moment of silence. Think about the work that you've done in the community over these last several years. Think about a student who has been touched by your teaching. Think about someone for whom you have been a source of comfort or connection. Someone who perhaps felt outside and you invited in. Someone who felt unheard and you listened to. Someone who felt more fully and more lovingly seen, reflected in your eyes. What I am asking you to do in this moment is quite simply to imagine. These last few months have called upon all of us in new ways. The coronavirus pandemic has confronted us with challenges from the most intimate and personal to the most public and political, and has brought every one of us face to face with the awareness that the future is always and forever uncertain. And while we are all profoundly grateful for the virtual technology that has allowed us to continue to study and to pray together, and that allows us to celebrate together today, there is nothing virtual about the reality of our connections to one another. And there is nothing virtual about the world now in need of your care, in need of your courage, your compassion, and creativity, in need of your imagination. That world, all around you and within you, is beautifully, mysteriously, achingly real. It is not just Zoom that allows us to stay connected when we're physically apart. It is imagination. It is imagination that allows us to inhabit worlds outside of our own, that allows the voices on the pages of our holy texts to mingle with the voices around the tables of our Beit Midrash. It is imagination that allows us to pray to a God we can't see or touch, and that allows us to work for a world of dignity for all people. It is imagination that allows us to remember, to know that we have not always been where we are right now. It is imagination that allows us to hope, to know that what we are feeling right now, what we are facing right now, will not last forever. It is imagination that allows us to empathize with another human being, a capacity so vital to every aspect of the work you will do. In an extraordinary essay entitled Metaphor and Memory, Cynthia Ozick speaks about being invited to address a group of physicians. Someone involved in medical training had come up with the idea that it was important for doctors to cultivate their capacity to imagine the lives of their patients, and that she, a writer, an imaginer by trade, could help them do so. Ozick writes, "It is the commandment of Ahavat Hager, the commandment of loving the stranger, that converts memory into metaphor and takes us beyond the self, takes us beyond the bounds of the familiar, and asks us to imagine what it is like to be someone else. You know the heart of the stranger because you were strangers in the land of Egypt." It is imagination that allows us to pursue justice, to know that the world as it is not the only possibility, that there is another way, that there is a better way for us to live with each other and to live with the earth that is our only home. It is imagination that allows us to be both sustained and summoned by a God, by our faith in a divine presence that connects us all and holds each life as unique, sacred, and infinitely precious. I'm asking you to imagine, because you are stepping into the responsibilities of leadership today in a moment that I believe will call upon you to live and work from a place of great courage and compassion and creativity. And I believe that our capacity to do this is deeply, urgently dependent on our capacity to imagine. As I record this message, our country is in enormous pain. After months of physical isolation, fear, loss of life, loss of livelihood, disproportionately suffered by those already most vulnerable, by those whose bodies are black and brown, by those who have paid the biggest price for our collective failure of imagination and our collective flight from responsibility. A little more than a week ago, we witnessed the horrifying murder of a black man named George Floyd by a police officer in Minneapolis. All the more horrifying because it was committed in the light of day, because we could hear the voices of people pleading with him to stop, because it was so far from the first time, and because we are still so far from answering the question, what will it take to make this the last time? Even as I record this message, I don't know what the days and weeks ahead will bring. None of us do. But we sense that we are in a moment of reckoning. May we not retreat from that reckoning. Of all the images that have reached out and taken hold of my heart over the last few days, there is one I can't shake. Last week, Rabbi Michael Latz of Minneapolis wrote a letter describing the thousands of people who came out after the third night of protests to spend the day cleaning up their neighborhood, to begin fixing things that had been broken, helping each other in whatever way they could. As we said Kaddish, he wrote, and we were on our way out, my oldest child pointed out a young African-American boy sitting on his daddy's shoulders. His shirt read simply, "My life matters." Years ago, I heard the teacher and scholar Aviva Zornberg ask the question, why do we cover our eyes when we recite the Shema? Because, she said, when we recite the Shema, we are being called upon to witness and testify to the oneness of all creation, the interconnectedness of all life. If we open our eyes and look around, we see so much terrible evidence to the contrary. Evidence of brokenness, fragmentation, disconnection. The Shema asks us to close our eyes, to use our imaginations to see what cannot be seen by the human eye, a life-giving God in whose eyes we are one, in whose eyes it is inconceivable, unimaginable, that the life of any child, the life of any human being, does not matter. And then we are asked, we are commanded, actually, to keep going, to open our eyes and to keep loving, to commit ourselves with everything we've got, b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha, with all our hearts, with all our spirit, with all our strength, to live in this oh-so-real world. Sitting at home, walking by the way, lying down, rising up, step by step, word by word, day by day, bringing the world that we see a little closer to the world that might be. I leave you with an image from this week's Torah portion, Be'alotcha, the image of the seven-branched menorah. which was to be lit at all times in the tabernacle and in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. Eventually, this light came to be known as the Ner Tamid, or perpetual light. And to this day, a special light is lit in every synagogue to fulfill the Torah's command to keep a light burning always. The Ner Tamid is the light of imagination, of courage, of memory, of hope, the light of God's presence among us. This is the light that you have dedicated your lives to tending. The Iturei Torah says that the Ner of Ner Tamid can be understood as an acrostic for nefesh ruach, a soul with spirit. And every person must light the Ner Tamid in her own heart, not only in the tabernacle or the tent, but michutz laparochet, outside the curtain, in the street, in the marketplace, every day, with everyone we meet. May we continue to be part of each other's lives, helping each other tend this light always. I want to turn now to our esteemed guest speaker, honorary degree recipient this year, Rabbi Levi Wyman-Kelman from Jerusalem. It is such an honor for me and for Hebrew College to be able to present him with this token of our recognition. He has indeed been a Ner Tamid in the fullest sense, a beacon of light, of spirit, of hope, of imagination. Rabbi Levi Wyman-Kelman revitalized the liberal rabbinate in Israel. In doing so, he served as a moral and spiritual beacon to three distinct communities: the members of his beloved Kehilat Kol HaNeshama in Jerusalem, the broader Israeli public in search of some alternative to the rigidly defined Orthodox or secular identities, and thousands of North American Jews, rabbis and congregants, many of us whom were regular visitors to Kol HaNeshama in Jerusalem. Raised in the inner sanctum of the conservative movement, Levi grew up in the presence of his father, Wolf Kelman's close friendship with Abraham Joshua Heschel. Growing up in the late 60s, Levi was much shaped by the American Jewish counterculture of the era. He chose Aliyah shortly after rabbinical school, living first on Kibbutz Gezer and then moving to Jerusalem. A passionate Zionist all his life, he became an early rabbinic critic of the Israeli government's settlement policy and was a significant force behind the creation and leadership of Rabbis for Human Rights. Kol HaNeshama was the fulfillment of Levi's combined Israeli and American Jewish selves. It is a full-service congregation active in learning and social justice as well as in serious prayer. It has reached out and embraced a wide variety of Israelis, as it has also become a home for many North American immigrants and now their Israeli children and grandchildren. Levi retired as rabbi of the congregation in 2018, but continues to assist his successor and can often be found leading children's services on Shabbat morning. Levi, on behalf of the Hebrew College Board of Trustees, I am so honored to present you with this honorary degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Shalom uvracha. When you invited me to speak at this amazing occasion months ago, it was before we knew of Corona or sheltering in place, and most of us had only heard of Zoom. I suspect I was invited because I'm president of Rabbis for Human Rights, and this is a wonderful way to recognize all the rabbis who are committed to fighting justice in Israel, in Palestine, and all over the world. And without diminishing the importance of this holy work, our present-day reality has forced me to rethink what I want to say to you. Even though I grew up in a rabbinic home and had a day school education, and I've been studying Jewish texts practically my whole life, I vividly remember the first time I was both moved and disturbed by a traditional Jewish text. I was 19 years old at the Brandeis Bardin Institute in Southern California. The teacher was not a rabbi. He was an immunologist, how apt for today, named David Weiss from Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem. And he taught the following midrash, which appears in different versions in Breshit Rabbah and Baba Metzia. It goes like this. Until Abraham, there was no old age in the world. People who wanted to speak with Abraham got confused and spoke to Isaac. People who wanted to speak to Isaac got confused and spoke to Abraham. Avraham tava zikna. So Abraham demanded aging. Abraham said to God, when a parent and a child enter a room, people don't know who to honor. Crown people with aging, and then they will know who to honor. Chayecha, says God, I swear you are right, and it starts with you. And it says in Genesis, Avraham zaken ba bayamim. Since this is the first time the word zaken appears in the Torah, this teaches that Abraham brought aging into the world. Yitzchak tava yisurin. Isaac demanded physical suffering. Isaac said, if a person dies without suffering in this world, they will face harsh judgment in the next, in the eternal world. If they suffer in this world, it will be easier for them in the next. Chayecha, says God, you're right, I swear it, and it starts with you. And it says in Genesis, Vatichahena einav meiraot, and Isaac's eyesight was dimmed. Since this is the first description of a physical disability in the Torah, it teaches that Isaac brought physical suffering into the world. V'Yaakov tava choli. Jacob demanded illness. Jacob said, if a person dies without getting sick to remind them of their mortality, they won't make things right between their children. If a person gets sick, they'll make an effort to bring reconciliation between their children. Chayecha, says God, I swear you are right, and it starts with you. Vayomer liYosef, Hinei avicha choleh. They told Joseph, your father is sick. Since this is the first time the word choleh, ill, appears in the Torah, it teaches us that Jacob brought illness into the world. And I might add, Jacob's sons were reconciled. I remember feeling exhilarated and distressed by this text. There are theological questions. It would be unthinkable to tell someone suffering that they should embrace their suffering as a gift. Also, our ancestors have the chutzpah to ask God to improve on the world that was created. And unbelievably, the omniscient, omnipotent God says, I swear, you're right. One reading of the text is that God gives our ancestors these questionable gifts as a punishment after they question God's handiwork. But I am more drawn to the reading that suggests that we see aging, suffering, and sickness as gifts that God gave us after our ancestors demanded them. This is counterintuitive. We spend so much time, energy, and money as we try to erase or reverse or ease the natural consequences of aging. And Judaism embraces medical intervention to relieve suffering. But wisdom allows us to find the right balance. Over the past endless months, we have all been forced to confront mortality, especially the mortality of the elderly and most vulnerable members of our community. Our communities are being tested. Our leaders are being challenged. How do we respond to these unexpected developments? I don't remember a course in rabbinical school called Facing a Pandemic. At some point, we are all called upon to accept the challenges of aging, suffering, and illness. These moments define us. I have many, many prayers for you all today. May you continue to be inspired and disturbed by our sacred texts. Be prepared to learn Torah from unexpected sources. Know that God is waiting to be challenged by you, but be careful what you wish for. As you go out to serve the Jewish people and all people, may you feel God's presence not only in celebration and prayer, but also in the difficult times. Help others sense the divine presence in simchas and struggles. Most important, learn to recognize your own limitations and know how to accept support from those closest to you. Chizku v'imtzu. Be strong and of courage. Shalom.
Thank you so much, Levi. And now I'm delighted to turn the program over to Rabbi Dr. Michael Shire, Dean of the Shulman School of Education, and to Rabbi Dr. Dan Judson, Dean of the Rabbinical School. Rabbi Shire and Rabbi Judson will introduce all of our graduates receiving certificates, degrees, and ordination this year.
I am pleased to announce the names of students who have completed the requirements for certificates and degrees from the Shulman Graduate School of Jewish Education. These certificates and degrees are innovative and rigorous in their approach to Jewish educational leadership for schools, synagogues, and Jewish educational agencies. Our candidates are skilled and inspirational and creative in their approach to learning for all. The candidates for the second cohort of the Certificate in Interfaith Families Jewish Engagement: Robin Kerry Hurwitz, Lauren James Troderman, Marla Wiener, Jennifer Nicole Boyle. The candidates for the Certificate in Jewish Sacred Music: Sam Lucky, Noel Lorraine Shahan. The candidate for Bachelor of Jewish Education: Ari Pinchas Huberman. The candidate for the completion of the Bachelor of Jewish Education and Master of Jewish Education: Brooke Ann Fisher. The candidate for Master of Arts in Jewish Studies: Melinda Gordon Nierhoff and Valeria Forte. The candidates for Master of Jewish Education: Jessica Ann Schwartz Green, Paula Hoffman, Kelly Kossar, Ariel Nicole Hirsch Levy, Allison Faith Levy, Devorah Benah Rohr, Mark Lewis Stober. In addition to those from the rabbinic and cantorial classes who elected to complete a Master's in Jewish Education as part of their ordination program. The candidates for the dual degree of Master of Jewish Education and Master of Arts in Jewish Studies: Leah Skylar Beck, Alicia Danska de Paulo, Shimon David Solkovitz. We also wish to acknowledge those students who have completed their studies in our Pardes Educators Program, an intensive 2-year program for individuals pursuing a career in Jewish day school education. This program is a creative collaboration between Hebrew College and the Pardes Institute in Jerusalem, designed to train inspiring day school teachers for the North American Jewish community. We join with our colleagues in Jerusalem in congratulating them on their achievement. Tova Dorit Messer, Lara Hannah Rodin, Yosef Nadiv Simcha Schiff. I want to extend my personal congratulations on the great achievements of all of our graduates, especially in this challenging time. We hope to welcome you all next year to process with us in cap and gown at Hebrew College. Mazal Tov and Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. May you be strengthened in the work you do for others.
We now continue with the conferring of degrees to students in our cantorial and rabbinical programs. In addition to their certificates of ordination, they each have earned a master's degree in either Jewish studies or Jewish education. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, our cantorial students will be participating in cantorial ordination online, and at 2 o'clock, our rabbinical students will be participating in the first phase of their rabbinic ordination. Links to both of those programs can be found on our website. Right now, we have the opportunity to celebrate as an entire Hebrew College community and to confer upon them their degrees. We begin with candidates for our cantorial ordination program. The Hebrew College cantorial program fuses traditional Jewish text and liturgy with innovative musical and spiritual programming to meet the needs of 21st century Judaism. I am so pleased to present the following candidates for cantorial ordination: Jennifer Nicole Boyle, Rachel Slusky, and David Daniel Wolf. Mazel tov to all of you in having completed this journey. Mazel tov and being able to be called Chazan. The rabbinical program of Hebrew College combines traditional text study of the highest standard with graduate academic and professional training to prepare rabbis who are well-versed in Jewish texts and traditions and who have the knowledge, sensitivity, and skill needed to serve and inspire Jewish communities. I am pleased to present the candidates who have completed the requirements for rabbinical ordination: Jessica Sarah Goldberg, Gita Dalia Karasov, Noam Vered Ray Beryl Lehrman, Sam Lucky, Michal Sharon Michner, Sarah A. Noyevitz, Matthew Ruben Ponak, Rachel Amy Putterman, Talia Eve Stein, and Rebecca Lee Weintraub. Mazel tov to all of you on having completed this long journey. May you take your learning from Hebrew College, and may you bring the light of Torah with you into the world. Mazel tov to all of you.
Thank you so much, Michael and Dan, and Mazal Tov to each and every one of our graduates. We now have a special surprise for you, which is a series of messages that have been recorded from members of our faculty and staff who very much wanted to share their own greetings and warm wishes and send you on your way today with their blessings and their Mazal Tov. Following those messages, we will conclude this morning's ceremony with another performance by Hebrew College's wonderful choir, Kol Arev. Kol Arev will be singing Shalom Aleichem, composed by Rabbinical School alumna Rabbi Shoshana Friedman. Thank you so much.
To our new rabbis and cantors.
Hi, graduates of 2020.
To all the graduates.
Congratulations to all the ordainees and graduates of 2020.
We have made it. It's a minor miracle or a major one that you all have gotten everything done that you needed to do to get to today, despite all that was going on in the world around us.
Chizku v'imtzu. Be strong and courageous as you follow your dreams. Alu ve'atzlichu. May you rise to the occasion and succeed in fulfilling your chosen destinies.
Congratulations for Marilyn J. on a job well done. You've graduated, and I'm so proud of you. Now go out and save the world.
To become a rabbi in such a dark time is a tremendous act of hope. It's like a child born even under the most difficult circumstances as an embodiment of new possibility. Your taking on this role at this time is an embodiment of our hope and possibility, even when things look dark.
Mazel tov, everybody. Wishing you much hatzlacha as you go out to continue to change the world. We're all so proud of you.
The work of serving the world as a Jewish leader is about love. It's about caring for all of God's creation, all of God's creatures with all of your heart, with all of your might. That's exhausting, challenging work. And I want you to know, as you go out into the world to serve and to lead, that we here at Hebrew College are always with you and always behind you.
Mazel tov on this special day of your graduation, and mazel tov on your ordination. I wish you the best of luck as you continue to change the Jewish world.
My very warmest congratulations and love and good wishes for the day of your smicha coming up, and I will see you on Sunday.
It is wonderful to see how much you have grown in the past few years and the master Jewish educators you have become. We need people like you, passionate, knowledgeable, caring, inspiring educators. I am confident that you will bring light to our world, and like the shamash, you will light other people. So I want to wish you be'atzlacha, good luck, and please stay in touch.
It is a true privilege to have been together with you in community during your years at Hebrew College. But while we are losing an extraordinary cohort of students, the world is gaining an amazing group of religious leaders.
Congratulations to all of our graduates and ordinees. You've all worked very hard to achieve this milestone, and I know that you'll all be a credit to your professions and to the Jewish and global communities.
Graduates, you are going to go out and do great things. But the great things that you do, that's not what really matters. That's not what's really going to last, because the great things you do are dependent on the circumstances that make them necessary, that make them relevant. But the light that you shine and the blessing that you give, that is what's going to go on forever and ever.
I hope your accomplishment at Hebrew College will ground you and be a source of confidence and joy as you set off to share your understanding, your passion, and your Torah.
Getting to know you this year has been an absolute pleasure. And to those I've worked with, learning with you has been an honor. So go enhance the Jewish world. Keep learning. Never stop learning. Very, very important.
I just want to quote from the Talmud. Rabbi Chanina Amar Rabbi Chanina, הרבה למדתי מרבותיי, ומחבריי יותר מרבותיי, ומתלמידיי יותר מכולן. Rabbi Chanina said, I have learned much from my teachers, and even more so from my friends, but from my students I have learned most of all. Sending you out to the world with much blessings.
I have learned so much from you over the years. Now you go out and create a lot of harmony in this world that really needs it.
Behatzlacha, as you make your way out into this brave new world. We'll miss you so much here at Hebrew College.
The kids, the teenagers, the college students, the adults who you will teach in the years to come and have been teaching all this time are so incredibly lucky to have you in their lives.
This time, it's not, I'm gonna miss you. In these strange days, I don't have to wait to miss you. I already miss you so much. I know you will continue to grow in learning and compassion and patience and humility and strength and wisdom. A mazel tov.
Sending you ahava and hatzlacha on this momentous occasion.
Mazel tov.
You are a blessing, and we are so thankful to you.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, graduates. I can't wait to see the blessing and the light that you bring into the world.
Mazel tov, graduates. I'm so proud of you. Anything to dress up like a medieval monk.
Mazal tov.
Alu v'hatzlichu.
Seitchem l'shalom.
Mazel tov.
Mazal tov.
Mazal tov, congratulations.
Mazel tov to our graduates. Best of luck and keep in touch.
Shalom Aleichem,